So, Ada, you've got a question, and please ask it again, and I'll be happy to help you with this.
Okay, thank you, Gigi. My question is, can you speak some on the Neville concept of that we are everyone, the universe or everyone, pushed out?
Hmm.
And what made me think of this today is something whereby um, I am, I think I've been doing well in the circumstance where I don't have an answer for certain people and something that they're expecting me, which they're rightfully so, expecting me to answer or get back or, you know, um, uh, um, do a part in, and they are affected. And, I am taking actions in my own way.
Okay.
At the same time, I don't have a specific answer, but I am maintaining the attitude of gratitude and doing my part in that regard. But my question is in relationship to that we are everyone pushed out is in terms of you know how do I you know maintain a space or whatever for the other people who I don't really have a great answer for them at the moment, although I am taking some actions and as best I can.
Okay. So
Hope that makes sense.
it does, but what's happening is that there are different laws that are in play that you're compiling onto each other and recognizing, but not recognizing them as laws. So I'm gonna do the everyone is you pushed out part, okay? Okay, so everyone is you pushed out is a misquote. That is, Neville Goddard never ever said everyone is you pushed out. He never did. He actually said the whole vast world is you pushed out. And the first person I ever saw, say that was uh, another YouTuber, and I cannot remember her name right now. The YouTuber that's the first time I ever heard somebody say anything about everyone is you pushed out, and she said that, and that was her misquoting Neville Goddard, which he actually said the whole vast world is you pushed out. And when you think about the whole vast world, people will kind of stop their thinking to only people, some people will, and not recognize that vast is just really expansive. There's no end to it. And so that includes the computer, phone that you are using right now, your clothes, the placement of where your items are in their house. All of this stuff is you pushed out. And I believe it's Chinese, Feng Shui, that's a manifestation of the acknowledgement of this law. Okay? And this everyone as you pushed out is again the whole world, and your emotions are um they're the propellant or the starting of things manifesting. Okay, so if you're having an emotional time with somebody or something, you'll see it manifest in different ways depending on how you handle these emotions. It will manifest in a series of unfortunate events or great things that happen. Also, it will manifest in dis-ease in your body, because sometimes people will hold on to things and do certain different types of stuff um, that will make it manifest in different ways. But it's like, if you can imagine like a like that picture of the man where there's like a funnel that loops, the energy's going like this, it's going in all 3D directions. That's what it is. That's what everyone is you pushed out. You can fix that by fixing your thoughts about yourself and where you are in your life, and that's in very multi-level ways. So if you're having a problem with these people, you're no longer having that problem. So that's the version of you that you want to experience. You start focusing on that, and then that comes into everything being you pushed out. It's not going to happen right away. It takes convincing. You've convinced yourself that you're this person that has this issue. Now you have to convince yourself that you're no longer this person. Manifestation, this whole thing is all about convincing. Okay, does that answer? some of it? What I just some of your question before I continue?
Somewhat. So you're saying, okay, so I think so. Let me just be clear. So the everyone is you pushed out is not necessarily, I'm not sure if
Everyone.
that's not necessarily a deliberate manifestation. It's just saying that every your universe, right, is an expression of you, meaning the universe that you're aware of, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um
Yes.
is an expression of you. Therefore, feng shui, the placement of how you have whatever things in your surrounding or how it is, the people and how you respond to each other and that sort of a thing. So it's like
Okay.
everything, your the objects and people on that.
In
And then
that area, and also, go ahead.
go ahead, you go ahead.
And also emotionally. So you're talking placement of physical items. That's how powerful all this is. Placement of items, thoughts, patterns, emotions, it will shift everything. It will move everything. You're multidimensional. We see things one way, but it is so much in so many different ways that it is too overwhelming. So we just kind of stick to saying little catchphrases to help you reflect upon that one thing that you're experiencing as, oh yeah, that's that thing. Okay, so now you're going deeper. You're asking for explanation. At first, it's going to be very confusing because you're going to be mixing in the 3D logic and the logic that you've now kind of uh, com- um, brought into your life, which is this metaphysical thing. So there's going to be like a war going on in your mind to find out what's going on. You're going to have to understand the 3D logic is a whole other different type of logic, and it is dumber than this logic. Hold up, what are you doing? Two of them. Give me two. If you can't do two, that means you should just pass it on to the next person so they can be the other one for you. And then they can do the same so you can have. If you understand the basics of these rules, the logic will make more sense to you, and then you'll understand why everyone is you pushed out. Because the 3D world is just an after effect of these other laws. Okay? Am I confusing you, or are you understanding what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I guess the 3D being what we practically see as the end result, right?
You have to let go
Okay.
of that.
So to give an example, I think I mean, I'm just giving an example because it's just been my experience, even probably even before I, have met you, because that
Yeah.
was something from even earlier last year, um, or was it the year before or last year? They get
Last
run
year.
into each other. Probably 2020, but so they're running into each other 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
But for example, like I think, I may have ran into that, you know, just perchance, or maybe in some, well, when I say perchance, I mean not consciously uh, trying to, but I think intuitively it's something that a part of me already knew and in the past have done, but sometimes you forget. And then intuitively, when I got to a place where I was really stuck, and I don't know if for anyone else, but I find sometimes when I'm in a stuck place, it helps for me to declutter
Yes.
and move things around in my home.
Mhm.
And even emotionally, I feel so much brighter and lighter and better.
Yes, it depends on how aware each individual is, but it's just an example. I was using feng shui as an example of what everyone as you pushed out is manifested in this 3D world that is an acknowledgement of that catchphrase, which is actually correspondence. Okay? It's not a catchphrase, it's a law. And so when you're saying these things are happening to you, it's because it is you in a state of thinking that you have problems in certain areas of your life, and this is one of them coming forth. That's why it's happening, because you have this belief. And again, all of this is about telling a story. You're telling yourself a story and then you're believing it, be it a good story or a bad story. So when you find yourself in a state like where you are right now, having these issues with these said people, you have convinced yourself that you are in this story of having this issue. Maybe like, no, this all just happened. No, nothing just happens. It's always a echo of a thought of a thought of a thought from before. So you have initial thought springs up this one new thought. One new thought happens, you get to that one new thought. So I I'm trying to really simplify it.
I think what I'm trying to say is like the main thing right now, it's not that I have an issue in terms of
Yes.
like the like the main person that comes, that's, it's not that I have an issue in terms of like there's an issue between us. It's just that it's more practical than that. It's not, it's more that like they're waiting for me from a response,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't have an answer to. It's not like, oh, we're fighting. Or I have a problem with them. It's not that type of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's though, but because of certain things, whatever, I don't have, the perfect answer to give them right now. I am doing things in my universe, and I'm trying to maintain, my, in terms of my emotional space. But I'm just trying to say that, but because they're coming to me, or maybe rightfully so, wanting a response or answer, but I don't really have a perfect one that's going to make them feel happier, not feel angry or not feel upset or whatever. That's what I'm talking about.
So the thing with that, to help you with that, you this is like a because everything that you're saying is literally what you're experiencing. So now you're saying you don't have an answer for this person. You're literally telling me this is what's happening inside of your world, right?
No, I'm saying I don't have the answer that they want to hear at the
Yeah,
moment.
okay,
It's
that's what
not
I'm
that
saying.
I could tell. I could always give an answer. It's not that
I,
problem. But I won't have the answer that they would want to hear at the
I
moment.
apologize. I meant to say that you do not have the answer that they want to hear, right? You literally do not have the answer that this person wants to hear. And because of this, you're going to say, no, this is really what I identify with. This is what it is. And so the magic or the whole thing with this manifesting thing is you say, I have the answer that is going to make both of us happy. I know exactly what to say to make both of us happy or satisfied, right? Now you're going to say, I that's not true. I don't have that. Okay. So you've convinced yourself that you do not have it. It's so convincing that you are affirming it and you will not switch to this other new idea and start to convince yourself into that idea of, oh no, I do actually have the perfect answer that makes like it's a win-win situation. I have the perfect answer where I'm satisfied and they're okay, they're fine, right? You have to start to talk to yourself in such a way to help yourself start to believe that it's possible. And then when you start to believe it's possible, you feel a bit more comfortable with saying more words that will definitely affirm that this is so. And then eventually it's like, yeah, why wouldn't it be? And then it starts to happen and then it's so. This is the process of how it works. But it's just changing your speech and deciding that that is what it's going to be, that I have the answer that's going to make both of us happy. And again, you're tugging is your emotion of, no, I don't. That's what you have to work on. And then it'll start to happen because you've convinced yourself that you don't have the answer. And that's why you are here right now. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense, and that's helpful. I can work on that.
Great. Okay. I'm glad. And then the everyone is you pushed out. The reason why that's happening is because you believe that these situations are going to happen or a possibility for you, or you have other beliefs that may say I'm worthy of these type of things to happen. Okay, and then it comes to you, you magnetize it to all these experiences. You'll see repetitions, you'll see patterns in certain things, especially when you get introspective. Oh yeah, this happened before, I remember this in another way. And that is everyone is you pushed out. But the other thing that I told you is the thing that you can do, but it explains why you're experiencing those things. Does
Yeah,
that?
and the other thing, yes, yes, and the other thing is, I'm also thinking, okay, s- okay, whatever thought pattern you may have had up until the point you've started, intervening, to think differently. I'm assuming that for a period of time, they're going to be mixed in with your new thought patterns, and you've been doing the old one for most of your life. So, that has, I'm assuming that it's some whatever time it is for that to work itself out, where you may have just been doing so the new thought pattern maybe for weeks or months or whatever, or
It won't take that long. I'll tell you this. Again, it's you convincing yourself. You're
okay.
always in the state of convincing yourself of a new story, always. And how you just got to get to know yourself and know how good am I at convincing myself at some of these things. You know what I mean? Like all these things that I'm experiencing, I've convinced myself that it's so. How good am I to convince myself otherwise? Then you start testing yourself. And then you start to build confidence in yourself. Like, you know what? Because you don't want to be hard on yourself. You got to build confidence in yourself. And that's the self love thing. And then it just all branches off.